It is 4 p.m. We're bringing you the developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon, Friends or Storycon. I'm at Lingao. And here are the stories we're watching this Tuesday, March 19. The Senate has ordered the detention of Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder and leader Apollo Quiboloy. Earlier today, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri signed the arrest order against Quiboloy. The pastor was earlier cited in contempt for failing to attend Senate hearings on alleged abuses within his ministry. The vehicle of Bureau of Corrections Director General Gregorio Catapang was shot at along the skyway around 6:30 this morning. The vehicle lent to BuCor by Catapang was on its way to pick up Deputy Al Pereras. Catapang and Pereras have reportedly been receiving death threats prior to the incident. And U.S. President Joe Biden will host President Bongbong Marcos and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida at the White House on April 11. This is for the first ever trilateral leaders summit. They're expected to discuss peace and security in the Indo-Pacific region, among other things. Now, before that, later in Malacanang, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will also meet with President Marcos. That is happening in just a few moments. And joining me again here in Storycon is the Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Amy Pamintuan. Amy, good afternoon and welcome back.
Hi, Ed.
Amy,
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Amy, before anything else, let's bring in our guest today kasi nagmamadali siya siyempre at
Yes.
he's scheduled to have a meeting in Malacanang and that's what we will be talking about, of course.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah, makibalita po tayo sa mangyayaring meeting sa Malacanang. And on the phone is Ambassador to the United States, Babe Romualdez. Sir, magandang hapon and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, magandang hapon sa iyo at saka kay Amy. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Good afternoon.
Sounds like a good meeting kanina between Blinken and Secretary Manalo. Again, Blinken emphasized the ironclad commitment that the U.S. Has made and is still making with regard to the West Philippine Sea, among other things. Sir, of course, that among many other things. Pero, sir, at least as far as that is concerned, how different or how similar is that to previous commitments made by the U.S. as far as our concerns in the West Philippine Sea is concerned?
Well, I think there's no question about it that the more challenges we face in the West Philippine Sea and the more support we're getting from many other nations, the United States is more now than ever committed to that mutual defense treaty that we have with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's very clear that I think that President Biden has been waiting to see the president once again. So he invited him with the opportune time to meet with Prime Minister Kishida in Washington, D.C. next month.
Mm-hmm. Sir, are we one more question before I pass it on to Amy. Are we expecting further developments along these lines in the trilateral meeting as far as the West Philippines is concerned in the trilateral meeting in the White House with the Japanese Prime Minister and the U.S. President?
Well, there's no question that domestic security or defense security is one of the main topics of conversation between the Prime Minister, the President, and President Biden. So you can be sure that that's been part of the whole discussion when they meet in Washington, D.C. this April.
Mm-hmm. Amy?
Ambassador, I'm interested in the trilateral meeting. I understand the White House announced that there will also be a one-on-one between Biden and President Marcos, and among the topics on the agenda are human rights and democracy. Can you give us more details about this, exactly what that might mean?
Well, these are issues that we've always been part of the discussion with the United States. It's an ongoing discussion. Human rights has been a concern from the United States from way back, as far back as even during the time of President Estrada and even during the time of President Ramos and even President Cory Aquino. So it's an ongoing thing, and I think that there's a lot of developments as far as human rights are concerned, and we've moved forward since then, and we expect to have a more discussion on that one, not only with the President but also on my level with some members of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Might the campaign against illegal drugs be on the agenda?
Yes, definitely. We can expect some form of we can expect some form of discussion along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Sir, what
I know
about
it's a law enforcement issue, but can I ask, because there was an arrest warrant today for Apollo Quiboloy, would that be taken up at that level? He's on the FBI most wanted list.
Yes, he is in the FBI list. However, the extradition that people have been asking us about has not yet been requested by the United States. I think the cases that may have been filed, that will be filed here or may be filed here in the Philippines, will take precedence unless we let go of those cases and allow the United States to request for the extradition of Pastor Quiboloy.
So, sir, let me just go back to defense issues. I think that a lot of people are also hoping for some sort of material cooperation and concessions as far as defense and security issues are concerned. Of course, we're talking about the military aid, in other words. Is there anything on the table as far as that is concerned? For example, a better deal with regard to fighter jets or other ammunition that will help beef up our capabilities in meeting all sorts of security concerns?
Oh, yes, definitely. President Marcos is expected to go to the Pentagon upon the invitation of Secretary Lloyd Austin. So he will have a meeting at the Pentagon, I think, on the next day after he meets with President Biden. So in that meeting, we're assuming that there'll be some discussions along the lines of modernizing our armed forces, which has been ongoing for the past couple of years now. And I think that they're bumping it up even more in the coming years ahead.
Yes, sir. Because, sir, there's been quite a lot of discussion between getting F-16s or getting, I think, Saab jet fighters. I'm not exactly familiar whether or not we've moved in any of the particular directions that they're looking at. But how's that looking? Mukha bang there's a possibility of getting a good deal there?
Well, actually, alam mo, yung Air Force natin, they really would prefer the F-16. But unfortunately, because of the procurement law that we have, that we must get only brand new. That's going to be a big issue because, one F-16 is already probably half of the budget of the Air Force. So what the United States is offering is a slightly used F-16s, which is coming from a third country. It's in perfect shape. I think our Air Force has already even looked at it. We can get a dozen of those F-16s, but we need to change our procurement law because it's really unreasonably too demanding for us to buy brand new because these types of equipment are extremely expensive, especially the F-16s.
Yes, sir. I understand. But sir, are we moving along those lines already? Because I've heard that already for several months, pero I don't know if there's any bill pending already in Congress as far as that is concerned. Has the Palace started making representations with Congress to amend the procurement law?
No, as a matter of fact, I had a long discussion with Senate President Bing Subiri about that, and he did say that he was going to file a resolution. I don't know where it is right now, but from the last time I spoke to Senate President Subiri, he said that it's going to be passed. He expects it to be passed, that we will be able to change our procurement laws, especially in relation to the modernization of our armed forces. There's a lot of equipment right there that can really be very useful for us, and it's affordable. And the United States is bending over backwards to get us the kind of equipment that will be compatible with theirs so that our armed forces will be able to come up to par with our mutual defense treaty with the United States.
Ambassador, are there continuing discussions on I understand there was a proposal for the U.S. to escort or to provide cover for our ships going to resupply missions to Ayungin. Is that still a proposal? Is that proposal still on the table? Is it being discussed?
Well, I'm not quite privy to any of those discussions, but I can tell you one thing, Amy, that the United States is providing us with real-time surveillance, and that most of the that is required for us to be able to resupply our Sierra Madre specifically is being used extensively by our Philippine Coast Guard. So I think the cooperation is there. Now having escorts is a different level already, and that's probably an option that is only something that perhaps is just on the table but not yet being implemented.
Sir, if you don't mind, I'd like to follow up on that question, pero along the same lines. As far as yung the statements of ironclad commitments are concerned, of course, this is not the first time that we've been given that commitment of ironclad, an ironclad commitment. But I do suppose that well, people are also asking if we should ask for more than just an ironclad commitment, something a bit more, I don't know, more specific or more particular in terms of. Well, I'm not really sure, but we've heard it time and again, an ironclad commitment. Is there any need to push that further, that question further with the Americans?
Well, let's just pray that they don't need to prove to us their commitment.
Yes, sir.
So, in other words, we don't want any conflict to happen in our area. But I can assure you that I think I'm very sure that the ironclad commitment that's made by the United States will follow through in case there is a need for that. But let's just pray that it will never have to be proven.
Sir,
okay, I'll follow up on Abe's question. How about intensified, for example, joint patrols, if not by way of additional military equipment, by way of joint cooperation, are we going to see this being ramped up, for example, in the coming months, in the South China Sea in particular?
Well, we're working with other countries like Australia and now Japan, of course. So all these other countries are prepared to work with us on the maritime security issue. So we're hoping that we'll be able to finalize most of these agreements that we'd like to have with them. You see, what President Marcos wants is to have a multilateral approach in the areas, especially the freedom of navigation. So we just don't want to just be totally just on the United States, but we'd like to work with like-minded countries as well.
One more question. Is cybersecurity also on the agenda during the meeting with President Biden?
Yes, absolutely. Cybersecurity is a major concern for both our countries. In fact, it is a major concern for most countries all over the world. We are vulnerable to the cyberspace hackings and all of these things that are happening. So that will be one of the subjects for conversation with President Biden.
Okay. I think we have to let Ambassador go. He's about to go into a meeting in Malacanang. But sir, maraming salamat. We appreciate your taking the time.
Down, as a matter of fact.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador.
I'll
Good
do
luck,
it
sir.
for you guys. Anytime.
Ingat po.
Anytime for you, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That was Philippine Ambassador to the U.S., Babe Romualdez, who is already in Malacanang, about to start the meeting
Yes.
with the President and with the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken.
Yes, we're waiting for that nga. Mga 5 ang start. It starts at 5, so medyo matagal pa itong hintayan natin.
Sabagay.
And before we can get anything, there will be a joint press conference, di ba?
Yeah. O may oras pa pala, dapat yung telepono pinapasa natin kay Blinken, no? Joke lang yun. Yung mga style ng mga reporter, di ba? Teka, Ami, ano mga nyo? Top stories nyo today? I mean, for tomorrow.
Iniintay pa rin din. Well, iniintay pa na as a follow-through dun sa start ng program. We're waiting for reactions from the Quiboloy camp. Baka makontak natin ulit si Ferdinand Topacio kung anong next move nila. Ngayong both chambers of Congress, meron ng arrest warrant. Which will be, sinabi na nga ng House, di ba, active na yung arrest warrant nila. Although pinagbigyan inintay yata yung Senate. So, ngayon meron na. Anong mangyayari? So, we're waiting. Baka within the day, baka meron ng action niya. Although we're waiting for word from Davao.
Well, they have to
baka
first...
baka naman humarap na siya mismo.
But they first have to locate Pastor Quiboloy. And from his last from his last pronouncements, mukhang hindi naman siya willing magpa-under custody ng at least ng
Yan ang
Senado.
sabi ng legal team niya. Yes. Pero baka magbago yun ngayong both chambers na yan eh.
So anyway, as a matter of procedure, just for everybody's information, both the Senate and the House rules state na pag merong na-cite in contempt at merong arrest order or subpoena and arrest order na inalabas yung chamber, that is passed on to the Sergeant at Arms of the Senate or the House. And at least as far as the Senate is concerned, if it's in Metro Manila, it is the Sergeant at Arms who delivers the arrest warrant to the accused or to the witness. If it is out of town, then the Senate Sergeant at Arms has to coordinate with the local PNP for the arrest to be effected. He cannot do it by himself, at least out of town.
So medyo may problema dyan because that's in Davao. Now we
That's
all
in Davao.
understand that he is in Davao and alam naman natin kung sino nagko-control doon sa local police doon, local
So may
government.
ibang dynamics
They
doon.
are all very supportive. They are very supportive. Hindi lang critical of the government, but very supportive of Apollo Quiboloy and his Kingdom of Jesus Christ. So, yan nga ang inaabangan natin ngayon. Ang iniisip na lang natin, wag sanang magkaroon ng gulo.
Although it is a Davao Police Office, but they are still, of course, under the Philippine National Police.
Yes.
So that's a consideration, of course. But kagaya nga sabi ni Ami, there are always local dynamics when it comes to matters like these. Anyway, Ami, let's bring in our News
Yes.
5 reporter sa Congress. Yeah, si Marian Enriquez.
Yes.
Man, kamusta dyan? Anong balita? At nalokita ba nila sa Quiboloy?
Magandang hapon nga sa inyo. Actually, kahapon, hinihintay nga natin na maglabas din ng detention order yung Kamara ng House Committee on Legislative Franchises. Tungkol nga dito na makuha si Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, pero hindi natin yan nakita. Wala tayo natanggap o wala nilabas. At nung nakausap na natin yung Vice Chairperson, si Congressman Johnny Pimentel ng Committee on Legislative Franchises, sinabi niya na naka-hold daw ito no, kahapon. And even yung isa sa nag-fire, nagkain nung panukanang batas na bawiin yung prangkita ng SMNI, si Kong Rodriguez, maigi daw talaga na Senado nga yung manguna doon sa pag-aresto o pagkuha kay Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Since dito sa Kamara, pumasok second reading yung kanilang dinidinig na batas, which is yung SMNI Anti-Revocation Bill. And inaasahan nga natin na bukas Wednesday, ipapasa na yun sa ikatlong pagbasa. So parang for them, mas nararapat nga talaga na Senado yung manguna pagdating nga dito sa pagkuha at pag-export, kumbaga, kay Pastor Apollo Quiboloy doon sa kanilang
Sorry, Bok, medyo choppy ka ng konti. Let me see if I got this right. Ang sinasabi mo ba they will leave the Quiboloy matter to the Senate kasi they'll be busy with other things in the meantime, like for example the chacha. Did I get that right? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be malicious, but it was a bit choppy.
Okay. At mas malinaw na ba? Ito, naglakad-lakad ako, pasensya na.
Sige lang.
Ayan. Yes. Kahapon kasi di ba inaabangan natin na maglalabas tayo ng House Committee on Legislative Franchises ng detention order, no? Yung Secretary General. Pero apparently, naka-hold daw ito. So, nung tinanong nga natin si Congressman Johnny Pimentel, na Vice Chairperson ng committee, yun yung sinabi niya, naka-hold, pinag-uusapan. Tapos, sa press con yesterday, yung One Rider Party Representative Congressman Rodriguez, na siyang nung SMNI Franchise Revocation Bill, sinabi niya na mas nararapat, hindi niya mas appropriate na Senado na yung mag-take lead kasi ipinasa na sa second reading yung panukalang batas niya kung saan niya iniimbita na magsalita si Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Naalala ninyo last week, sa second reading yung pagbawi o pagkansila ng prangkita sa SMNI.
Okay.
At inaasahan sa bukas, third reading na siya ipapasa kasabay nung economic taxa o yung RBH 7. So tingin nila, though meron pang iba na mga House bill na dinidinig, no, tungkol doon sa red tagging, fake news, peddling, pero yung kung saan siya ini-invite, pangunahin nga tungkol doon sa SMNI Revocation Bill, matatapos na bukas, third reading. So mas nararapat nga daw na sila.
Okay.
Pero Marian, ang report namin, Marian, from the Senate, wala namang nakakalendar doon before the Holy Week break, ha? Na anything about RBH 7 or RBH, even si RBH 6, saka kahit siyang SMNI franchise. May reaction ba dyan yung mga kongresista? I understand they were proposing mag-meeting daw during the Holy Week break. Mukhang mabuti kung may, ewan ko kung papayag yung mga senador, I'm sure. Marami din silang mga kanya-kanyang mga inaasikaso during the break. Anong reaction ng mga congressmen na mukhang wala sa priority ng Senate itong mga priorities ng House?
Tama ka, Ami. Hanggang bukas na lang or itong Friday na lang yung session or yung pasok ng Kongreso, Senate and House, pero walang nakalatag or nakaschedule na hearing ng subcommittee ng Constitutional Amendment dyan sa Senado. So, ang tingin naman Kamara, for example, kanina natanong, gagawin nyo may plan B ba? So, para daw kay Deputy Majority Leader Janet Garin, sinasabi niya na, pagkakaalam niya, walang plan B. Pero kung siya tatanungin, people's initiative na yan. Yun yung sinasabi niya na dapat yun yung itulak. Kasi ayaw daw niyo, bakit daw ang abante? So, yun yung tingin niya dapat gawin. Para, ito pa nga quote her, ang tingin ko, merong iba na mga nagdadasal lang na makalimutan ako sa economic chat sa pagdating ng kampanya. Pero pa siya sinabi kanina na sana lang makakotoo na ngayon Senado kasi sinabi niya, maybe what is best to discuss now is kung ayaw nilang talakayin ng RBH 6, bakit? And I believe it's best to call a spade a spade. Kung ayaw, sabihin nila. Kung gusto naman, pag-usapan. Because mahirap yung sinasabi mong okay kapag merong usapan. Pero ayaw na. End of quote. Yun yung mga sinabi kanina ni Deputy Majority Leader Iloilo Representative Janet Garin.
Bok, just to
Pero
qualify that...
lalong magkakagulo yan kasi yan ang pinagawa yan nila, di ba? Yung People's Initiative. Yan ang pinagawa yan ng dalawang chamber Paano ngayon yan? Binanggit na naman yung People's Initiative. Buhay pa pala siya, no?
Kinukumang na naman. Tama. Parang pag naririnig natin yung termino na People's Initiative, pag parang nawawala na sila ng pag-asa. Dito sa Senado, no? Yun yung lagi nilang binabanggit.
Well, Matt, let me just qualify things. What I am hearing from you is, at least from several Congress leaders, at least one major Congress leader, kung ayaw nyo itong RBH namin, abay magtuloy natin People's Initiative. Di ba? Parang ganun ang pagkakasabi ni Garin. Now, my question is,
Yes.
is that a position of Garin alone or is that shared by other House leaders and by the House leadership? Kasi, I mean, one is a personal opinion, the other could be the leadership point of view. And there's a huge difference between the two.
Good question, Bok. Pero ito, nung sinabi niya ito na personally, yun yung pagkakasabi niya. First, ito, quote, personally, alam ko walang plan B. Pero kung ako yung tatanungin niyo, we really need the People's Initiative.
Okay.
Yun ang pagkakasabi.
Okay. Well, magandang tanongin ng iba dyan, lalo na sa House leadership. Baka mamaya, lahat sila personally.
Pero kung pareho silang personally,
Oo, di ba?
di ba?
Kasi kung sinabi ni, for example, pag sinabi ni speaker na personally, hindi na personally yun.
Oo nga.
Pero
Saka buhay pa nga pala siya, no? Buhay pa si People's Initiative talaga.
Honestly, may nagsabi nito couple of weeks ago, na People's Initiative din yung personally rin niyang opinion kung hindi mag-vote yung Senate.
Oh. Kasi by all appearances,
okay.
it sounds like they're using the People's Initiative as a as a ano ba? What's a good word for it?
Magsabihin mo na yung sinabi na Senado. Sabi ng mga senador, ginagamit daw pang blackmail.
Ayun, there you go.
Sa kanila.
Galing kami yun,
Yan ang sinabi ng mga senador.
Galing kami yun.
Tinong ba-blackmail daw yung People's Initiative. Kaya tuwing makikipag-usap yung yung Speaker and the Senate President with President Marcos, laging sinasabi, di ba, tutuloy ng Senate yung chacha kung bibitawan na yung People's Initiative. Ganyan pala, buhay pa rin
Kumbaga sa salitang kanto, ayaw nyo, PI.
Yan na nga ang nararamdaman at natitreten syempre yung Senate. Kasi kapag People's Initiative, kahit ano na yan, pwede na Yan ang pinaproblema nila.
Well, anyway, sige, man, no, we won't push that kasi, of course, we're waiting for an answer there.
Yes.
Pero that's something that you might want to look at kung gaano katalaman, kung gaano ka widespread itong personal opinion na ito among the House leadership.
Tama. Sige, sige. Bukas meron pang press ko, no? Thursday. So, tingnan natin.
Teka, hanggang kailan kayo? Hanggang Biyernes o hanggang Huwebes?
Yeah. Hanggang tomorrow na lang, I think, press ko pag Friday, ba?
Oh, kasi Friday,
Wala.
Friday, goodbye day.
Wednesday lang.
Oo. No,
So,
sige. Pero huling hirit. Wednesday bukas, last week you're promising to pass on third reading yung RBH number 7. Mukha bang matutuloy yung third reading?
tuloy na tuloy yan, Bok.
Talaga sigurado siya eh.
Wala namang opposition. Halos wala namang opposition. Sasampu lang yung opposition dyan. Wala pa. Pinasa na yun ng committee ang dahon. Paano pa yan hindi papasa?
Oo, tama.
Sigurado na yan. Ang problema na lang talaga yung mga senador.
Oo.
Tatanungin natin yung Senate.
JJ Suarez.
No.
Sinabi niya yesterday na
Okay.
on Wednesday nga, nakatakdang isa lang on Thursday final meeting yung mixed comment Sasha. Tapos sinabi niya na doon na 280 daw. Kasi kailangan lang ng 232 na kongresista para maipasa daw to 3/4 vote. Pero sinabi ni Congressman Suarez na nasa 280 na mga kongresista yung nagpahayag na magpa-co-author nitong RBH 7. So talagang, di ba, parang in principle daw talagang adopted na.
Is there any possibility na kung klarong-klarong ayaw gumalaw ng Senado doon sa RBH number 6 nila, na ipipilit ng Kongreso ang RBH 7 at gagawin niya yung wording na voting jointly? In effect, overriding the Senate vote or the lack of it. You know what I mean? Kasi with 315 people, theoretically plus 24, you get 3/4 of that. Ilan yun? Mga 280? 290? Ilan? I have to do the math again. But is that possible na they will try to override a Senate non-vote by just rewarding RBH 7 as saying that they are voting jointly and the Senate just refused to vote? I'm being malicious here, but this is politics.
Yes. Bok, yung tungkol nga doon sa pagkakaiba nila, that first paraan pagboto sa RBH 7, it's not denied kay Congressman Suarez. Sinabi niya na it might on full break gamitin ng mga mambabatas and at least mag-usap, no? Para mabawasan na kumbaga yung legal challenges na kaharapin nila. So, he is hoping na magkaroon tayo pa paano pag-uusap between the senators, lawmakers, para pag-usapan din, pagdating din dyan sa issue.
Okay, wala akong naintindihan, pero sige, mag-take na tayo, Ami, kasi mukhang nagchachapi na talaga si Marian. baka wala ka ng load.
Hello?
Ed.
Ami.
Ed, pag nangyari yung sinasabi mo, hindi na yan RBH, hindi na yan resolution of both houses. Magiging resolution of the House resolution na lang yan, di ba? Yan ang pinag-aawayan nila lagi. Wala mangyayari dyan.
Yeah. I'm just looking at all possibilities. In this country kasi everything is possible apparently.
Mas posible pa yung people's initiative dyan. Ay, po kila.
Palito na ba ako?
Yeah, sige, Bok. Sige, quickly lang.
Ayan.
Para mabitawan lang namin.
Balikan ko, sabi ka na, yung tungkol natin sa provision na yun na magkaiba yung RBH 6 and 7 when it comes to voting. Sinabi nga rin niya Deputy Speaker JJ Suarez na itong Semana Santa na to ay gamitin ng mga pabata para magnilay-nilay kung paano mag-move forward. Kasi para daw maiwasan na nga yung mga legal challenges. Less impediment kumbaga.
Okay. So, unity. Okay. Maraming salamat, Marian Enriquez. Ingat parate.
Thank you, Marian.
And you're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a quick break. We will be back in a bit.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Lingao with Amy Pamintuan of the Philippine Star. Let's now speak to Bureau of Corrections Director General Gregorio Katapang. Sir, magandang hapon and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Ay, magandang hapon po.
Good afternoon, Director.
Ma'am Pamintuan.
Yes, sir. Sir, mabuti sir at wala kayo kanina sa sasakyan nung pinaputukan. May idea na ho ba kayo kung sino yung nagpaputok?
Ongoing po yung investigation. Mabuti naman, walang nasaktan.
Ay, sorry sir. Para sa mga viewer natin, ano nga pala, kanina, lumabas sa balita na pinaputukan ng sasakyan ni General Katapang ng BuCor sa Skyway. At hindi naman siya nakasakay, pero ang sasakyan dapat ay magsusundo ng isa pang opisyal ng BuCor. At hindi naman basagin, nag-shatter yung bulletproof windscreen sa likod ng sasakyan. Ayan po, kita niyo sa video. Amy, you were saying?
Director, may suspetsyon na ba kayo kung sino? Medyo maraming mga gulo kasi dyan sa BuCor eh. Pero sino kaya ang pinakamalakas na possible na pinag-focus ng suspicions dyan? kung sino kaya ang
Ako
gumawa
po,
niyan.
wala pa naman sa ngayon. Kaya kasi kung pag nilinya mo silang lahat, napakarami po magiging pag-iisipan. Pero
Yan na nga.
hopefully makatulong yung video sa Skyway kung sino talagang sasakyan yung nagpaputok, and then ma-identify kung sino yung mga tao.
Pero ang balita, nakakatanggap daw kayo recently ng mga death threats. Tama ba yun?
Oo, matagal na po yan. Pag-upo ko pa.
Mm.
Kaya lang, siguro ngayon na sila naglakas ng loob. Kasi nga, na makita yung pattern, yung movement pattern.
Mhm.
Si Asikal, ang target po dito, si Asikal, hindi naman po ako. Opo.
Yes, sir. Pero po sa inyo ata yung sasakyan, which is why people were
Oo.
thinking na baka ikaw yung talagang target.
Opo, kilala po kasi yung sasakyan na yan na ginagamit ko. Pero nung dumating ang punto na pati si Asikal may threat na, sabi ko, gamitin mo na tong sasakyan ko. At least ako, confident ako na kahit anong ambus sa'yo dyan, hindi ka masasaktan.
Wala naman pong penetration.
Director, can you tell us more? Bakit kaya nagkaroon ng mga kalaban tong si ASEC? Pareho ba kayo ng mga pareho yung grupo na nagtatarget sa inyong dalawa?
Opo, kasi siyempre ako lahat nag-iisip kung anong gagawin, anong tamang gagawin. Tapos si Asek Al naman ang nag-execute. Siyempre, of course, alam nyo naman, matagal na yung pinagsamahan namin ni Asek Al. Nasa servisyo pa kami sa military, sa yung Judge Advocate General Chief. So buo rin ang loob niyan sa reforma. Kaya kung masaktan si Asikal, para na rin ako nasaktan. So
ang tingin niyo, Director, ang talagang target is Deputy Al Pereras, hindi kayo?
Opo, si Deputy Al Pereras.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, sana sir, mahanap ka agad yung actually sir, nakakapagtaka rin na sinubukan nila gawin yan sa Skyway kasi kung mamalasin sila, naharangan sila doon sa, kung mabilis yung responde, naharangan sila dapat
Exit.
doon sa exit eh. Kung nasa Skyway ka, di ba?
Opo, well executed po kasi ang ginawa nila, trinay muna nila kung bulletproof o hindi bulletproof yung sasakyan. Nung naparil nila na, bulletproof pala, na alam nila sa nagtahan ng ambus. Nagtahan siya ambusin yung sasakyan. Pero nung alam nilang bulletproof ito, nag-exit na sila ng nagtahan.
So it was only the first phase dapat of a full ambush in suspicion nyo?
Opo, kasi kailangan, siyempre, sigurado sila, tumatagos yung bala nila. Kung hindi naman tatagos, maipit sila kasi may mga police din dyan eh. May highway police, may makaka-react yan. Kailangan in seconds, ma-check nila yung abus kung yun man ang plano nila.
Malakas ang loob nila sir kasi may backup karata itong sasakyan ito. So, two vehicle convoy.
Opo, to vehicle, kaya lang ang problema, nasa hulihan yung backup. Nasa unahan yung backup. Oo,
Hindi
nagkamali.
backup.
Pero kasi nga, hindi naman nakasakay pa si Asekal.
Oo nga naman.
Kaya ganun lang condition nila.
Hindi pa naman nakasakay yung
kung nakasakay na yung VIP, dapat yung backup nasa likod. Oo.
Pero Director,
So,
siyempre, ang
pero
suspicion
ngayon,
yun, mukhang professional tong mga gumagawa, At nakakaintindi ng tungkol
Oo,
sa baril,
magaling.
tungkol sa mga bulletproof,
Saka yung tama,
tungkol
kita
sa
nyo,
ganyang
sakto.
mabilisang
Oo.
pagbaril sa umaandar na sasakyan.
Opo, mabilis po yung gumalaw. Marunong yung mag-aambus, kaya na hindi niya pinurso dahil alam niya hindi magiging successful yung ambush.
Sir, kung okay sa inyo po, medyo lilis ako ng konti kasi curious ako, nabasa ko ng weekend, may balita lumabas na namatay na raw si Ricardo Solueta. Yung dating, parang right-hand man ni
Deputy
Gerald Bantag. Number one, is that confirmed na po ba that na-identify na yung tao as Ricardo Solueta who has been missing, I understand, for the last 2 years, thereabouts. At number two, anong epekto nun sa kaso?
Yung number one, of course, hindi ako makakasagot dyan dahil si Secretary Boying Rimulya, inutusan niya yung NBI to confirm talagang
Identity.
yung identity ni Solueta. So kami, wala kaming capability to identify. Oo. And then of course, yung second question mo, kung makakatulong ba yan o mapapahina kaso, it's up to the court o yung
Yes, sir.
mga nag-file ng kaso.
Yes, sir.
So, but we are, kung may mga lalabas pa na witnesses dito to support the allegations about what happened sa pagka-ambus ni Percy Lapid, we are willing.
Yes, sir.
Pero NBI rin ang led dyan NBI.
Yes, sir. Well,
Pero
sir,
Director, hindi ba kaya hinahanap si Ricardo Solueta kasi siya yung makakapag-provide ng direct link kung magte-testify siya between Gerald Bantag and yun na nga, yung pagpatay hindi lang kay Percy Lapid kundi doon kay Chris Tito, yung inmate sa Bilibid. Tama ba yun? Di ba siya yung inutusan kung sakasakali, yun ang sinasabi ng mga witness na siya dapat yung inutusan ni Gerald Bantag at siya lang ang nagbaba ng utos na yon dun sa mga pumatay. So ngayong wala na siya, nawala yung direct link. Tama ba yon?
Hindi pa naman po. Kasi ang nabasa ko sa investigation, talagang may nililink na utos sa taas. Opo. May mga witnesses po na yun na magpapili pa rin. Kahit, kasi hindi ka pa rin nakakasigurado kung nahuli natin si Solueta. Sabihin niya, walang alam dito si Bantag. Pwede niya rin sabihin yun, di ba?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oo.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Opo.
I understand, sir, what you mean. Pero at the same time kasi, ako kasi, for example, nabasa ko yung mga affidavit ng mga preso na nag-submit ng kanilang affidavit dun sa DOJ. At at the very most, ang sinabi po nila ay si Solueta ang kanilang kausap. At si Solueta nagsasabi sa kanila kung ano raw ang utos galing kay Bantag. So, at least from those affidavits, sir, na sinabit na sa DOJ, mukhang walang direct communication, walang direct communication between yung mga preso who conducted the operation and Bantag mismo. So, yun po, ang problema ay baka maging, of course, we're not lawyers, pero baka lang concern, baka maging hearsay ba? I don't know if that's the right word.
Opo. Kaya nga rin, hindi na rin ako makakomment kasi submitted for
Yes, sir, we understand.
ano na po yan sa korte. Kaya bahala na po yung mga abogado natin dyan.
Yes, sir. Well, just something we have to bring up because of the circumstances Ito po, sir, ang story ng for example, lumabas na story sa wala. May nakita ko ng story wala raw foul play according to the PNP dun sa pagkamatay ni Solueta. So I suppose naggumawa na sila ng autopsy. Teka, hanapin ko ulit. Wala But if that is the case kasi ito, police, according to Philippine News Agency, police say no foul play in Solueta death. In a press briefing, Colonel Jean Pajardo, spokesman, said Solueta was with his common-law wife the day before he died. His brother took him to the hospital when he complained of chest pains. So all the while pala magkasama lang yung mag-asawa. Di ba hinahanap siya? Di ba all this time? Well, I know, sir, hindi naman po kayo in charge doon, pero
Opo.
ang tagal natin hinahanap, yun pala, kasama lang misis. Anyway,
Opo. Pasensya na po. Talagang
Yes, sir.
hindi po kami involved dyan sa
yes, sir, I understand. It's not naman, your responsibility. Sir, huling hirit lang, unless Ami has other questions. Kamusta po yung, inyong mga investigation, for example, doon sa digging? I remember that yung malalim na hukay na, mala swimming pool na hukay doon sa likod ng inyong quarters doon sa BuCor. Have you ever been able to get to the bottom of what it was about and who was responsible? And kung meron man nahanap na Yamashita?
Yun nga po, ang pinaka-final lang na namin, investigation is parang yung Yamashita treasure hunting po yan. Oo, Lupay. Oo.
So talagang treasure
And
hunting
then of
ang
course,
pakay.
balak namin, mga tabunan na po yan para for security and safety ng mga tao nandito sa malapit sa quarters.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay, Ami, ano ba?
Okay.
Si Sir, pakawalan
Okay na.
natin. At maraming ginagawa si Sir. Sir, maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Si BuCor Chief Gregorio Katapang. Sir, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you,
Salamat din po
Director.
sa nakataon. Opo.
Diba? I remember, Ami, kasi I read all the affidavits that were available, yung binigay nila
Yes.
sa DOJ. Yun nga from the affidavits, at least the ones that they released to the media, walang nagsabi na kausap nila si Bantag mismo. They were
Walang
all
direct.
quoting Gerald
kaya nga.
Bantag. They were all quoting
Inutusan lang daw
Sulweta.
ni Bantag, di ba?
Oo.
Inutusan ni Bantag si Sulweta. Kaya nga nung nabalita na namatay, ang suspetsa, baka pinatay.
Well, yeah, that's one of the logical
Kaya ngayon,
suspicions.
saka tinatanong nga kung siya nga mismo. Kaya ganon, there was an investigation. I think it's an ongoing investigation. Nakuha na daw ng NBI yung mga DNA para i-verify nga kung si Sulweta nga yung ni-report na patay.
The case gets murkier and more cloudy. That's where it heads. Okay. Anyway, cambio tayo siguro, Bok. Meron pa tayo isang storya. Makibalita tayo sa mga nangyayari doon sa Visayas. Kausap po natin si
Yes.
News Cebu Desk and Freeman
Yung
Editor
teacher.
Dale Israel. Dale, anong balita dyan sa inyong lugar?
Yes, may nga po, Ed and Ami, the University of Cebu has fired the teacher that went viral on social media for the video. It was heard provoking students to harm themselves. This was the announcement made by UC Chancellor Candice Gutiano last night after the investigation conducted by the school on the incident. For context, the 56-second video was secretly recorded by one of the students. The video did not show the face of the teacher, but it was heard that he will be happy if the students suffer from self-harm. There was a preventive suspension on the teacher, but after a few days, the school decided to let him go. He is also barred from entering the school, nor was he allowed to come into contact with any of the students. According to the chancellor, the affected students will have a 1-week break from classes to be able to relax and undergo debriefing from the incident. The school's legal team is also studying other actions that can be made from the incident. We would also like to take note that if there is anything that we should learn from the incident is the importance of mental health awareness. In fact, the school is deploying 30 psychologists and guidance counselors from other campuses to the UC campus in Banilad. All of the students will undergo counseling, and it will also include teachers, staff, and even parents of the students who wish to join the counseling session.
Okay.
Dale, I understand pati yung mother ng teacher na who's also a teacher daw in DUC nag-resign na rin. Tama ba yun?
That's correct. That's correct. The there are no statements that were released on the background of the teacher, but what we learned is that he's a son of a teacher also from the University of Cebu, and the mom and the son already out of school.
Dale, would you know if they will be challenging the yung ng pag-fire out sa teacher? Are they going to appeal?
We could not yet get the information because the investigation is very private, and there were no release. There were no names of the teacher actually that was released by the school.
Yes.
What we only know is that he is a son of a teacher also, and a lot of speculations from the comments from the students on the kind of person the teacher was, but these are not verified information.
Dale?
Pero medyo malakas yung reaction ng school, Dale. Nagpatawag daw ng 30 guidance counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists to counsel nga the students. Meron bang bakit ganun medyo malakas yung reaction? Nagkaroon ba ng negative impact dun sa mga students na nakarating sa school administrators, yung message ng teacher?
Actually, if we are to base this reaction from the students, there are a lot of students that said that they also experienced such incident also coming from the same teacher. But these are comments actually from students, but these students did not identify themselves. They use probably different names.
Dil, curious nga ako, ano raw ang konteksto dun sa pagkakasabi ng guro dun sa kanyang mabilitawang kataga? I mean, I can't imagine that a teacher would just say it off the bat like that. May kwento ba kung ano yung dahilan? Ba't niya sinabi yun? O ano yung kabuuang konteksto?
Yes, we still cannot yet determine that because the content of the investigation is being is so private that we cannot get a copy of it. And then what we only know is that based on comments from students, so it's difficult to get that information where he's coming from and how come that resulted to a very disturbing video.
Okay. Book, I'm afraid we're running out of time kasi we have to leave early for the next program. So, pabayan muna natin si Dale Israel, ang ating Freeman editor at One News Desk ng Cebu. Dale, maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon.
Daghang salamat.
Thank you, Dale.
Okay. O, Ami, happy Tuesday. Malapit na yung weekend.
Happy Tuesday.
Bakit?
Sige.
Seryoso.
Thank you, Ed.
Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. I'm Amy Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. So join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.